Welcome back to 1 Million Pumpkins Ranch for more public displays of homesteading. And today, as you can see, I'm in the rabbit barn. And yesterday, I even took care to rabbit-proof the rabbit barn. And so that means all these 9 baby rabbits get to have the run of the floor. Look at this one. Oh my goodness. They have their food and water in their cage. But now they have room to zoom. Having a good time. What are you going to do, little one? Are you going to jump down? Sweeties. And meanwhile, while these 9 babies are walking around, their mama is working on her nest for her next litter to be born in 2 weeks. That one is Snap Pea. These are my 3 sisters, does. Snap Pea, Corn Silk, and Courgette. So when they get taken off their mamas, I always make sure that they get room to zoom. This is a 10 by 12 foot rabbit barn, and it's built onto the side of a shipping container. So that's what that rusty wall is back there. That's the outside of a shipping container that we built our barn off of. These are my bucks, Cat Claw, and today, speaking of rabbit quality of life, today is Poplar's turn to go, oops, underfoot. That one was under my foot. It's Poplar's turn to go outside. He's going to come outside and hop in the rabbit garden. So I'm going to catch him now and put him outside. Some baby rabbits are in their cage having their breakfast still. This one jumped up on top. One's over here in the corner. This one's looking at the trash. This one's underfoot. I've got a bag of diatomaceous earth there. poplar. Good boy. Sorry for the boring view there. But I just put poplar outside into the garden. I love how friendly these bunnies are. They're climbing on my legs. I'm going behind the cage. They like going underneath the cages too. Auntie Eglantine is next door in her big retirement lounge. So there were deep rabbit holes dug all along the edge of the barn here. And yesterday Ivan put gravel and filled them in with dirt to keep the rabbits safe inside. And also I took and put cinder blocks over here. There was a gap that they could get their little noses through, so I had to block that. There's a gap between this railroad tie and the framing, so that was good to improve that anyway. There were rabbit holes right there, and I even filled that in. Whoops! I have to watch my step. They're so curious. Hi! I hope the rock on the end of this piece of roofing is strong enough to hold you. And there's like a hole in the shipping container, I think for some kind of connection, or I don't know. But anyways, I've been filled that in with gravel. Because if it's big enough for their heads to get through, they'll get through. And I'm actually glad to have that block too, for when snake season comes. Hi, Tracy. Thanks for joining us. This is 1 Million Pumpkins Off-Grid Ranch. And this is how I make sure our grow out baby rabbits get quality of life. Free hops. Zoom. It's hard to know what to focus on because they just zoom around kind of randomly. Such cuties. But this also makes them get more tame. Right, babies? Little sweetie. There's some kind of chicken drama outside. Right, so like I was saying, when we first came out here in 22, we had our shipping container delivered here, and then we built the lean-to barns. So this side, as you can see, is the rabbit barn. Built off of the side of the shipping container. And on the other side is the poultry barn. And that is an evaporative cooler. So in the summertime it gets super hot. And so we have to run the evaporative cooler in here. And in retrospect, I would not have put the clear story because it turns this into like a greenhouse effect. So we hung some scraps of insulation board. And when we build on, we're going to extend another 10 feet of this rabbit barn. That it costs about $1,000 for the supplies to do that. So we haven't managed to save that up yet. But when we do, this is going to be extended 10 feet back. So it'll be 20 by 12. And it's going to be insulated and not have the clear story panels. The rabbits like to be in the shade. They're not hurting for sunshine. And in the summertime, it just gets way too hot in here. So we have to run the evaporative cooler all day long. So rabbits get uncomfortable when they're above 85 degrees. So we have a few months in the summer here in northern Arizona. But then we have long cold winters, and rabbits thrive in the cold. Baby. So this building was always semi-temporary. We really had to put it together quickly. We had to move here and bring the rabbits that we had in California with us, so we had like a Noah's Ark situation. And when we arrived, they needed a building right away, so we just kind of slapped it together. You can see the gaps in the siding there. And this unit, this hutch unit, is what we brought with us from California. That's a dog crate up on a mesh block. And there's a rabbit, it's like a name brand rabbit cage that we picked up used. It's okay for them to go to bed in that, but they need extra room to grow out. They can't just be in that tiny little cage. So I'm really pleased to have this rabbit barn set up again so that they're secure, and we'll just monitor for digging. Curious one. I love how they stretch forward. They stretch forward. Hi, little stretchy blue rabbit. And as you can see, rabbits are pretty messy animals. So while you can have them indoors, you can litter box some rabbits and they can run the house. We had that in the city. We had a house rabbit named Jack Rabbit. He's the grandpa of all of these babies. Oops, or great grandpa maybe, I don't know. Anyways, Jack Rabbit is the founder of our American Rabbit line. And he was a house rabbit. He got litter box trained. He took to it naturally, and then so he had the run of the house, and he used to jump up into our bed. He was friends with the dogs and cats. Jack Rabbit was really the coolest house rabbit ever. But before he had his litter box, he used to use about 10 extra large puppy pads per day. And he stayed in this dog crate with puppy pads. And he got hay everywhere, just like these guys do. Plus, male rabbits spray on the walls. So we had to drape the crate. I draped it with like old sheets because he would go in there and he'd spray all over the walls. So in my opinion, rabbits are made to live outside. Even if it's a dirt barn like this, they can touch dirt. They're zooming and it's hard for me to catch. Hey, baby. So another thing that will happen with them loose like this, that one's the one I call Blinky because that one had nest box eye. So every day I had to pry open its eye and wash and doctor that one's little eyeball. You gotta be your own vet on the homestead. Whee! So right now we have 24 baby rabbits. These ones are going to be 10 weeks old. And then we have the 12-week-olds live in the big grow-out hutch outside. And then we We've got 8-week-olds up there. And then in 2 weeks, this haystacking mama is going to have her next litter. See how she gathers up the hay in her mouth? And then she'll build her nest. How much can she stuff in one mouthful? So hopefully she's not building her nest in the corner of her cage. Oh no, she just went in her nest box. Oh no, she is in the corner of her cage. I'll relocate her nest into the nest box and that'll work out good. She's a really good mama. I wonder what the dog's barking about. Kind of growly. So let's go outside and see what Poplar's doing, and I'll show you the adult rabbit hopping space, the rabbit garden. And my knee is still slightly hurt. Sorry for awkwardness. I've got this double door here, so I can hopefully keep track of keeping these ones inside. Watch out, little baby. And cat outside. Quickly. I did it. Okay. And I need to close the top because our cat Hooey will jump up and terrify them. Okay, sorry about that. So right across the way we have this rabbit garden. Let's see where Poplar Hopper went. It's in a state of rebuilding because the rabbits managed to dig a deep cavernous hole under here. Oh, is he in there? Yes, there he is. There's Poplar Hoppler. Hi, Poplar. Hi, big guy. He's one of my wonderful daddies. Yeah, the rabbits dug a huge, uh, a huge complex under the ground, and so we had to lift up this playpen. It was here where I'm standing, and this cat is on my foot. Anyways, and so we're gonna be laying down fencing and setting this back up so that rabbits cannot escape. uh, I think it was in the late summer that I had 11 baby rabbits hopping freely out here 24/7, and they had a great time, but they were, subject to possible predation. Luckily, that didn't happen. And yes, you can see I have a stash of bottles and jars for building, and the rabbits keep me company when I work on my bottle wall. The third course is coming along, and we're supposed to maybe have some non-freezing, a night above freezing 2 nights in a row, so I might be able to add some more bottles. This is, we call these a chalet, so it's just, a little A-frame, and it's tied together with baling twine so it doesn't spread. It used to just flatten out. But they dig holes everywhere. Yeah, I've got a stash of other bottles and jars over here. All kinds of jars. And I'm gonna be taping those together to make bricks. And then I've got this wattle. So this was all sunflowers this past year. And the chickens have come and scratched the mulch everywhere, so you can't see where the paths are. But it has sunken basins that got filled with all kinds of organic material, and it has a raised walkway that's now covered. Anyways, this was also like a trench alongside the fence, and I've just been heaping more litter on top to grow the soil. So the rabbits have this whole space to hop on. This was the first thing I gardened when we arrived here, was this circle, and it's got a sturdy apple tree growing. This is the first year that I worked on this patch, so all that was sunflowers in the summertime, and I've been collecting branches for the borders, and the rabbits get their paws dirty all over this garden. This one's getting pretty deep, and when they get deep like that, I'll start plugging them up with buckets of dirt, or I just stuff them full of mulch. So when I dump out the rabbit litter from the barn, this is where it goes. A lot of it. Hi, Poplar. So I let the animals' nature guide me when I raise my homestead animals. And it's the rabbit's nature to hop freely and dig, have things to go under and around, get some fresh air, get their paws dirty, get spooked and recover. And that's kind of a prey animal's um, natural instinct too, is they get spooked, but then they recover. And I feel that that conditions their nervous system. Like if they never get spooked or handled, then yeah, I feel like something's lacking in their life, and they're less resilient. So they need to have adventures. This is another play area, but I just have not gotten around to pruning that crazy salt bush. But as soon as I do, that's another play area, that little round. But if you notice, the rabbits like to dig. They find these pockets, and they like to especially push up against the edges and dig against edges. Everything's gone to sleep for the winter as far as gardening, but come springtime, all I have to do is pull back this mulch, and do a little tillage and replant, and then there'll be a lot of browse for the rabbits to eat here. I kind of do a cover crop pasture mix with sunflowers. I put together a mega mix with a whole bunch of like leftover seeds. So this next year it's going to have Indian corn and sweet corn too. It's going to have sorghum, alfalfa, radishes and squash, and just all kinds of things. Last year even lettuces did well, and I have a bunch of lettuce seeds and clover, all kinds of things. And the rabbits will be able to browse on that, and so will the birds. I love interspecies. See how they get along. Hui is quite the barn cat, and in the field he'll kill wild cottontails, but he's never harmed any of our adult rabbits hopping around in this rabbit garden. He coexists very nicely with them. He's so polite. Ah, Hui. His tail is twitching now. There you go. Of course, everyone pauses and goes on alert when Amarok barks. I think it could be cows that he's barking at. He barks at traffic on the dirt road that's about half a mile, 3/4 of a mile away. He barks at that road sometimes if traffic goes on it. I can't believe the snow is still on the ground. And now it's saying that we're supposed to have snow again Friday night, Saturday. I hope so. It's super dry. The snow really hydrates the soil because it lingers and melts slowly instead of draining off. And our pastures really need it. So every day I rotate the rabbits one by one. They get to spend the entire day out here. They love having little nooks to tuck into and hide. And as I said, they dig holes up against the edges. So there's holes all along this border. Hi, Poplar. Rabbits are really into smells. So they get excited when I put the litter down fresh from out of the barn because they get to check in on their neighborhood. So dear. Poplar, you're so cute. Love you. So he's a pedigreed, purebred American blue. He's about 10 pounds, and I think he's going to be 3 years old. He's one of my big daddies. In my opinion, rabbits are the best homestead animal, but I do think they require attention to husband them correctly, in my opinion, correctly, which is giving them this kind of quality of life. And that means you got to handle them and get them. Like I have to follow him around and catch him at the end of this session, at feed time at the end of the day. It's a low speed chase. So I just walk behind him and follow his every move and bend down and start to pick him up and he hops away. Bend down and pick him up, he hops away until finally he gives up and he just holds still. And I scoop him up and put him safe in his house. And he'll have his turn when it's his turn again, as his neighbors get theirs. So not everybody wants to be chasing rabbits around for, 20 minutes a day in their list of chores. But to me, it just makes everything, what more joyous chore could you have following rabbits until they allow you to hold them in your arms? right? But feeding up the grow outs is going to be, pound for pound and dollar for dollar, your best homestead protein source. We only feed half a cup of rabbit kibble per day per animal, and then they eat some hay, and then they can browse on green forage in season. They grow up super fast. Their mamas tend to have nice big litters, and you get an excellent meat to bone ratio because, yes, these are meat rabbits. And we feed their family, give them quality of life, give them a family life too. Rabbits are family life oriented animals. They like to breed, they like to have big litters, and in the wild, the mother abandons her weanlings at about 4 weeks old and then goes and digs a new nursery burrow and gets pregnant again. And those baby rabbits have to fend for themselves in the wild, and they're at the bottom of the food chain. So here, the rabbits, instead of being ripped apart by coyotes or bobcats, they grow up safe and frolicking, doing zoomies and binkies on the ground, outside, or in the barn. And then they have one instant where they go over the rainbow bridge, and we do not outsource that. We handle that with our own two hands. The rabbits know no pain, and they're safe for their prolific short lives. The breeders live on, and as you could see inside, we do have one retired breeder, Eglantine. She's about 5 years old. She came from the old place, and she's a lifer. So, yep, today my son and I are going to take and prepare the bottom for this playpen. We're going to be replacing these old straw bales so that the cold frame is set up better. That's a cold frame. It's like a mini greenhouse. I haven't used it yet, but yeah, we have to put hardware cloth under this playpen unit, and then those baby rabbits can come out and get their paws dirty and run around. They get visited by the grown-ups. So that's the rabbit garden. It's pretty big. And it's a work in progress. Hi, Poplar. And this good boy, he stays on his side of the fence. He's turned into a really well-behaved, excellent guardian dog. I'm so glad we have him. Good boy on a rock. Nope. Now let's check in on these silly little babies again. Hi, babies. How we doing? Oh, they need some water. Hi, babies. Hi, little babies. Is your water bowl empty? fetch them some water. They're very silly little guys. There's one back behind the cage. That one's proud of itself. It thinks it got away with something. Well, if you like this sort of homesteading content, we're off-grid in northern Arizona. We're kind of new homesteaders. We've only been doing this for just now 4 years. Go ahead and subscribe. If you click the notification bell, you'll be able to see when I'm live streaming and when I've posted new videos. And I will keep you up to date with our animals. We've got rabbits, turkeys, chickens, and sheep. I hope you go ahead and click the like button or double tap your screen. That helps the algorithm push my channel. I've been hovering with low subscriber, low viewing hours, and I'm trying to make a push to go ahead and maybe monetize this channel. After all, we've started to fill out we filled out the necessary stuff so that maybe YouTube will consider monetizing our homestead channel. And it's a safe, happy place of cuteness and productivity without controversy or drama. And I know drama sells and gets viewership, and maybe that's why my channel does not get promoted. But I'm hoping to change that level of watch hours and maybe get up to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for those of you who have subscribed. I'm over 600 now, and that's a big milestone for us. Really appreciate that. Hi, Steve. Are we feeding them Miracle Grow? That's just rabbits for you, right? They are a miracle of grow. These ones need more water too. Thirsty little guys. So these will be taking turns on the floor as well. Just little improvements like blocking all the holes in the rabbit barn just go miles towards quality of life for all of us. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us, me and these bunnies. Thanks so much for joining us here at the homestead. Cheers and blessings.